Hello, welcome to more Safer Shirts information. I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff you've probably already heard of, and in less detail than you may have seen, but I'm going to try to integrate it into something that you can watch and reference and tell your friends about. So here we go. Alright, with the shirts, all I do is I print with a normal printer, and at that point all I need is some laminating pouches. And the laminator. And you just put the printed material in the pouch, run it through the laminator, and you get a laminated piece of paper. So at that point you start cutting out the letters. I use Olfa scissors. They work really well for some of these smaller details. Then when you cut out all the letters, you get to a full stencil. Of course, then you take your basting spray, turn the stencil around, spray. After you spray it with basting spray, you want to hang it up in the closet. I recommend using some hangers have built-in clothespin type things. They come, when you buy your shorts at the store, it's normally hanging with these hangers that pinch the shorts, and sometimes the cashier will ask you, do you want to keep this? And say, yeah, take it home. Pinch your stencil with your clothespin hanger, spray it. I recommend wearing gloves while spraying the back with basting spray, and then hang it up in the closet overnight. And push the stencil against a shirt using some sort of a rolling pin. I use a pickle jar. I have a couple of jars over next to my station right now that are pretty much flat all the way down, so when I roll on the shirt, it's not like some parts are getting pressed together while other parts aren't. So printing and laminating stencils is great. Anybody can do it. It's pretty easy. Recently I had a friend make some stencils using a laser cutter. So these are pretty nice. I've already used one, and I've mailed one out. Made a hoodie with one. They work pretty well. I just went and talked to the person who made the stencils earlier today, and they're going to try a couple of different materials to see what kind of results we get when we're actually putting them on the shirts and painting on them. So once you put the stencil on the shirt with like a rolling pin or a jar, and then you take your paintbrush, and you paint with here's a couple of different kinds of fabric paint you can find at almost any store. They look very similar. The containers look almost exactly the same. The one difference is one says slick, the other says matte. You want to go with matte. Slick is kind of a shiny, reflective, looks like shiny white paint even after it dries. And the matte paint, when it dries, it looks kind of like a chalky kind of a color, not as shiny. But the thing is, the shiny paint, when you fold the shirt and the paint touches itself, the shiny paint sticks to itself. If you use this paint and fold your shirt, the paint is going to stick to itself. If you use this paint and fold your shirt, the paint will not stick to itself quite so bad. So if you do, slick paint is still useful. An equal amount of slick white paint or glitter glue, it's the same price. So either way, I mean, if you want to buy glitter glue, go ahead, but I just buy slick white paint and I put glitter on it because, I don't know, when you fold it in half and the glitter touches glitter, it doesn't stick to itself quite so bad. One thing I recommend after you put the stencil on, you paint with the glitter glue or whatever, and you peel the stencil up while it's still wet, and then you sprinkle the glitter on while everything's still wet, and you tap the excess off. I just use 1 or 2 pieces of 11 by 17 paper on the ground, and I tap the excess off onto the paper, and then I fold the paper and funnel the excess back into the jar. I used to get the excess off, this is after it dries. I would get the excess off by using a vacuum, but now I just use a larger brush, kind of like a dust broom almost, and I just dust the excess off onto an 11 by 17 piece of paper. You can't even really tell, because I tap. What I normally do is when the paint's still wet, I sprinkle glitter all over it, and then I tap it so the big pile of glitter kind of slides along and off the shirt onto the 11 by 17 paper, and you are left with, the glitter that sticks because that's where the paint was. And then you let it dry overnight, and then there's a little bit more glitter that you got to take off the next day, and I just use this big brush to do that. And you get your glitter container and your paper, and you pour it in. So that allows you to recycle some of the glitter that, you know, fell off. Okay. So I guess that's it, you know, other than that.